everyone, welcome back to my channel Lost My Thread. I'm Teresa and today I'm going to be showing you how I have reorganized my fabric stash. Now, I don't think I'm someone who has a crazy amount of fabric in my fabric collection, although some of you might disagree when you see what I've got, and I will show you what I have got. I did want to try and organize what I had though, because I was finding that I couldn't find the things I necessarily wanted, but also it was difficult to know what I had, particularly when I'm talking about scraps and leftovers from previous projects. I didn't know if I had enough to make separate garments or to maybe combine different fabrics together to make a color block garment or something like that. And I like the idea of scrap busting and using what I have, but also I don't want to forget about fabrics that I've already owned and then go and buy other fabrics. So I thought I would just tidy everything up, get a little bit more organized, and tell you what I find along the way. So you have to see the before you can appreciate the after. So I am going to show you what my fabric was looking like before I tidied it up. Be warned, it's a hot mess. That is the whole point. That's why I'm doing all this work. And then I will show you how I was organizing my fabric pieces and how the final collection looks after it's all organized. So we're in my sewing space, which you will, I'm sure, recognize. This is what it looks like when I'm not sewing and I'm not filming. I have stuff ready for a project or a few projects that I'm working on. In this chest of drawers here, in the very bottom, these are a small amount of fabrics. This is meant to be the projects that I'm planning to work on next. So these are things that you might recognize from my autumn sewing plans. One thing that's missing from this drawer is the denim fabric that I'm planning to make the ginger jeans. And a big part of why I'm doing this is because I can't find that denim anywhere. I know it's somewhere in my other main fabric bit, but I'm not seeing it right here. So this is 2 projects only that I'm planning to work on. So it's not a huge amount of fabric, but I wanted to show you everything that I've got. And then this is my personal wardrobe. I've got all my clothes in the left over here. So this is a sneak peek into a lot of my clothes. And then to the right of here, I've got a whole section that I literally cannot close because it's so brimming. And this is the mess that is my fabric. So on this top section here, I would say that I probably mostly have a lot of scraps here. I do have some full bits of fabric, but a lot of it's scraps left over from other projects. Behind this section, if you can bear with me, I'm going to try one-handed and show you. I tried to start organizing my fabric on they're meant to be for comic book they're cards for comic books. I tried organizing my fabric on those. I didn't feel like it worked very well for the kind of fabric that I had. So I've got all of that to work through. And this middle shelf, I would say a lot of it is things that I will have. Some of it will be scraps for sure, but a lot of it is going to be old projects that I'm hoping to refashion. Things that are maybe more jersey scraps. Honestly, guys, I don't know what's up there. It is rammed with stuff. And then I've got this shelf as well. This is a lot of my old sewing patterns, which to be honest, I probably don't want anymore. They're like really old, like probably from the late 90s. And then I've got quite a lot of the newer fabrics, I would say, down on this shelf. So things that I bought more recently. It's honestly a whole mixed bag, and I am planning to go ahead and reorganize it all. On the bottom, I've got shoes, so that is not fabric. Actually, tell a lie. There's some fabric that snuck into my shoe section as well. So just to give you a reasonable idea of the before, and then I'll be showing you the after in the end. And what I will do is just show you anything that I think is particularly interesting and notable that I found that I wasn't necessarily expecting. So I'm writing on just a little piece of card here. So I've written what the fabric is. It's a fleece-backed cotton sweatshirting fabric. I've measured the width and the length of it, and I've written where it's from. Because I bought it online, I was able to just double check. But it's this really lovely fleece-backed sweatshirting, so really nice and cozy, and I'll have to be making something with that pretty soon. These little cards, I basically just stole the idea from some fabric cards that I've gotten. So Melanated Fabrics and Blackbird Fabrics both do these cards, and they are then attached to your fabric when you buy it. So I just went more or less for a similar kind of a size, punched a hole with a hole puncher, and then that's my one to use. But yeah, so what I'm going to do is roll my fabric up now, and I have already pre-measured the shelf in my little storage space, and it is 19.5 inches long, so from the front to the back. So I want my pieces to be approximately that length because I want them to all line up to the edge of that shelf, so that way I can see all my fabrics together. So I'm just going to roll the fabric up, and then I'm going to tie a little tag on it. I'll show you from something that I've done earlier with a different fabric. So this is just normal cotton twine. It's not anything very exciting. I wanted to use cotton because it's not going to affect the fabric or anything. It's not going to transfer anything funny onto my fabric. And I wanted to be able to just tie a bow, and then I can untie it and I can use it again. But if it turns out that, you know, it's getting a bit tatty or worn or whatever, then I can just throw it in the compost because it's 100% cotton. So yeah, I've used that. As you can see, that's how it looks on each of the rolls. And I'm going to go ahead and do it with the piece that I have now. And that is my final piece to organize. So I'm going to have to show you what I've done. Okay, so first things first, I found the denim. I found that pretty early on, and I actually considered, should I just stop now? But I didn't stop. I carried on with my tidying up, and it all came together. So I'll show you the wardrobe now. Okay, first thing to show you, this wardrobe actually closes now. That should not be a triumph, but guys, it would not close. It is definitely completely closed, and that is because we are so tiny in here. I am over the moon with how this came out, honestly. I did organize this into sections. So this top section here, I've got organized. These are my woven fabrics, but the ones that are more of a structured, so like a cotton, linens, corduroy, so the things that don't have a whole lot of drape to them. And then on the next shelf down, these are my more drapey, like viscose fabrics, because I don't have a huge amount of them. These are the more, yeah, floaty, drapey fabrics. Over here, these are all of my scraps. So I'm going to have to take these out and show you what they look like. I might just take this top one out so I can give you an idea. These are all quilting weight cottons, and I've organized them so that I can see everything. That was a big thing. I wanted to see what I had. And then further back, it's probably going to be a little bit harder. Further back, these are my not straight up cotton, so they might be wax, they might be flannels, they might be linen, so just different kinds of woven scraps. Underneath here, these are my jerseys, so they are just any kind of jersey. I've got the more drapey, viscosy type jerseys over here, and the more just like solid cotton or sweatshirting jerseys on this side. And then going further down, this is more what I would call like specialty fabric. So I've got some coating, some waxed cotton bathing suit fabrics, quilted lining, thin slit, that kind of a thing. And over here, these are my jersey scraps, just because they wouldn't fit on the same shelf. So in the top basket, these are my straight up cotton jerseys, so any cotton jersey scraps that I've got. And then underneath, these are different. So some of it might be like a stretch. I've got some stretch velvets. I've got some like sweatshirting scraps, some viscose jersey scraps. And yeah, does that not look a whole heck of a lot better than it did before? Ah, so satisfying. I imagine it's probably the same for a lot of you guys watching these videos, but when I go through all of my old fabric that I've got, some of this dates back to like over 20 years ago. So these are things, some of them that I bought when I first started sewing back in the late 90s. And so many of the fabrics that I have really strong emotional connections for me with garments that I've made either for myself or for other people. They bring back so many memories, so it's quite an emotional journey going through all my fabrics. There were a few that stood out to me, a couple of skirts rather, that I'm just not wearing, but I didn't want to part with them just because of the emotional ties, and I really love the fabrics as well. So I thought it would be really good to maybe just use the fabrics, because it's decent amount of fabric, to make a different garment. I would love to hear your ideas of what to make with these fabrics, so I'm going to share those with you. I also have some other fabrics that I've been holding on to, mainly because I just don't know what to do with them, and I don't like them sitting in my wardrobe not getting used. But if I don't have a specific idea of what I'm going to make with them, they're just going to end up sitting there forever, and I don't want that to happen. So I'm going to show you these fabrics that I've picked out that are a little bit of a selection of what I've had in my stash, and you can tell me if you've got ideas of how I can use these up. So the first one I want to show you is a coating fabric. This is a boucle, and I wasn't entirely sure what the fiber content was, so I did a little bit of a burn test, and I do think it is wool. It seems to be burning in the way that wool is meant to burn. I'm not a burn test expert. It was my first ever burn test, but I thought I would have a go and see if I could work out what this is. As you can see, there are these really beautiful flecks of pastel colors. It's mainly, I would say, like a blue, but you have some greens and yellows and whites and purple coming through. Super gorgeous colors. I don't know if they're my colors is the only problem, and I think that's a big reason why I haven't actually worked with this fabric. But the other thing about it, because it's a boucle, it's quite a loose knit, and if I was going to use it, I would have to figure out how I would, I think probably interline it really. Just trying to find an end to show you. I wrap this up so well, it's hard to get in there, right? But I don't know if you can see, it is a very loose weave, and I can actually, you probably can't, I can see the light coming through it. Because it's wool, I'm sure it would be really nice and warm, but I would have to work out how I was going to make it stop the wind from coming through if I was going to be wearing it as like a warm coat. But it's quite thick, it's quite structured, so I'm not really sure what style of coat I would want to make with it. I had debated whether maybe I just use it for something else, like make some bags, like stand-up desk caddies for keeping my sewing supplies in, or even covering my sewing machines, because the colors make me really happy. If you think I'm wrong, if you think I could get away with wearing this, let me know, because I would really like to use it, and I've had it for so long. I feel like I've had this in my stash for probably like 15 years just sitting there without me knowing what to do with it. So let me know what your thoughts are on this one. Next up, I've got a skirt that I made years ago. So I've got a couple of skirts that I made, like I said, that I'm not really using anymore, or I'm not wearing for a variety of reasons. The first one is a wrap skirt that I self-drafted. So way back when I had been sewing for a couple of years, I figured why not make a skirt. It's just like a rectangle, right? And you hem it. I wanted to do a wrap skirt, so I made a little channel for a tie around the waistband and just did a really sort of short little seam around the edges of the sides and at the bottom. This fabric is stunning. I absolutely love it. This is a beautiful viscose fabric. Excuse the crinkles. This has been sitting in my wardrobe for quite some time, but the colors are just so wonderful. I don't know how I've had this white fabric with this floral design on it and it has not gotten massively stained, because I have worn this quite a lot over the years, more when I first wore it than when I am in the more recent times. But it has this really beautiful drape. It's really nice and soft. It's a really high quality viscose fabric. I have a feeling this one came from Hancock Fabrics. It might have been Vogue. I feel like it could have been a remnant from Vogue. But I have a decent sized piece of it. Because it's just one continuous piece, I can show you the little channel that I put in here. This is all very rough and ready. You know, this is early sewing projects. And I made a little tie that just goes and ties around at the back. When I tied it together, I didn't feel like it was particularly holding shut very well. It blows open a lot. So one solution I came to was to make a little buttonhole and add some buttons. And I wanted to put a few to give myself options if I was feeling, you know, more or less full that day, depending on how much I was eating. And I feel like this one is really gorgeous on, but because it's so lightweight, honestly, like barely the smallest hint of a breeze and it flies open. It's just not practical, and I'm not wearing it for that reason, and I want to wear it and I want to find a way to use this fabric. So I measured it out. I've got 142 centimeters by 82 centimeters. So it's not a giant piece, but it's not that small. I feel like I should be able to get something out of it, but I'm not sure what to do with it. I probably don't have enough to make a full skirt. I mean, maybe I do. Yeah. Let me know what you think. I don't think a wrap skirt is the solution for this particular fabric, but I need to do something with it because it is too beautiful to just be sitting in my wardrobe. I have another skirt as well to show you, and this is one that I have probably one of the biggest emotional ties to, and it is a skirt that I made and I was wearing the first day I met my husband. So I flew to the UK back in 2002 to meet my husband for the first time. I was in head to toe me-made clothes because, you know, that's how I'm always going to feel the most confident and feel the best. And I had this really beautiful skirt and shirt combo. The skirt, I'll show you the fabric, is this beautiful linen with these lovely different flowers. So some of it's just like a sketch kind of look. We've got some orange and some pink. I really do love this. There's a bit of a painterly look to some of these flowers. It is gorgeous, gorgeous fabric, but it is not the right fabric for the skirt that I had. So this skirt is a maxi length skirt that has almost like a little bustle tie at the back. So it basically has a little loop that ties at the lower back, and it creates a little extra volume in the, I guess, kind of above your bum area. I thought it was a really cool detail, and I really like that this is a heavier weight fabric, so it really creates quite a bit of volume here. But because it's a heavier weight fabric, it doesn't stay on me very well, and it just slides down, 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 and it's very heavy to wear because there's quite a lot of it because you've got that fullness in the back area. I do have the pattern still for the skirt, so I can show you what the design was like when I was looking at it. So this is the McCall's 2803. I doubt this is still in print because, like I said, I made this back in probably 2001 maybe, so 20 years ago. And I don't have the shirt that I was wearing with it, but I have the pattern for the shirt. So with that skirt, I was wearing, I'm just looking for the right view, I was looking for this I was wearing this McCall's 2608. So it was this top. So there's like a gather around the neckline. It's kind of a peasant style blouse looking kind of thing. It's got short sleeve. It's just got a nice little tie detail at the front of the neckline. And that was in a pink color, which matched really well. It was this pink on here. So I would say it's very similar to that pink shade that was on there. I don't still have it with me, like I said, but I did feel pretty amazing, you know, in my own clothes, and I told my husband what I was going to be wearing. If you're not familiar with the story of how my husband and I met, I did talk about it in my Q&A part 2, I believe it was. I'll pop a link to that so that you can check it out. But basically, my husband and I had been talking on the internet for a while and hadn't even seen pictures of each other, hadn't met face to face until that day when I arrived in the airport in London wearing that outfit. So I have a very special attachment to that skirt. I'm not wearing it though, just because it's the wrong fabric for the project. It happens, you know, it was my early sewing journey and we make these mistakes. But I would love to be able to do something with this fabric, and I have quite a bit of it because it was a very big piece with that whole gathering in the back section. So I've got 170 centimeters by 81 centimeters of this fabric. It is definitely more of a bottom weight, a heavier weight fabric, so bear that in mind. But tell me what you think I should do with this. I think when I've had these skirts for so long, I can't visualize them as anything else because they've been my skirts for 20 years. And seeing that fabric in something else is just a little bit too much of a stretch for me. This fabric I definitely got from Hancock Fabrics because I remember specifically buying this one. But yeah, please do tell me if you've got ideas of how I can use either of these fabrics to be able to get them out of the wardrobe that's been sitting in for the last probably 15 years since I've worn the viscose one, and the linen one I probably haven't worn for a good 18 years or so. And then I've got a few fabrics that I want to show you that I also don't know what to do with. One of them is a particularly interesting and unusual fabric, and I think that's what is vexing me, to be honest. This is a fabric that I got from a friend of mine who used to work for Ted Baker, and Ted Baker, when they have their initial designs that come out and printed up, if they're not happy with the fabric, they often give them to their staff. I think they might pay a small amount, or they might just get them for free if they want those fabrics and they want to do something with them rather than getting wasted. So similar to like a dead stock thing, but they're just going to the staff of the company. So this was a fabric made for Ted Baker. It is a poly satin. It's 1.55 centimeters by 93 centimeters, but it is one big solid image, one block image. So I'm going to try and show you guys because it's quite difficult because it's so large. Hopefully you can get enough of an impression. If I feel like I really can't get it on there, I will just do some photos as well. But it's got these really incredible birds on it. It's really cool fabric. Again, it's like really lightweight and drapey. It's pretty sheer, so I can definitely see you guys through it. You can probably see me through it. But it's got these hummingbirds, and they are like iridescent. They are glowing, and they are super cool. It's quite a big panel. Like I said, I've got 1.55 centimeters by 93 centimeters. And I don't really want to break up the design. I almost feel like it could just be turned into like a scarf or something, but I don't wear scarves, and I want to make it into something that I might get some use out of. I would probably have to line it unless I was intending to wear something underneath it. But yeah, maybe it doesn't need to be like a full proper garment. I almost feel like it could just go up on the wall and be a pretty incredible piece of art. But tell me your thoughts. If you have any ideas of what to do with that, I would love to use it. It's such a cool fabric, and it's very unique because I think Ted Baker made some adjustments when the real version came out. So no one's got this fabric. This is completely special to me, which is quite cool. I also have some sweatshirting fabric that I bought when I made the sweatshirt that I'm wearing right now. So this is the Toaster Sweater by Sew House 7, Toaster Sweater 2, with this really nice cozy neckline. This is the Cosy Colors fabric. This is a burgundy. I'm going to get a little bit closer so that you can see what it looks like. It has these really nice little flecks of color in it apart from the burgundy, and it is fleece back lined on the inside, so it is really nice and cozy. Once I made it, I knew that I wanted more, and I pretty much immediately bought some more fabric with ideas of making more toaster sweaters. And I did make one of them that's more of like a lighter weight for the cooler weather, but I also bought this, which is like a raspberry pink, similar, it's like a cotton, fleece back cotton fabric, but this one's even more fluffy on the inside, even more warm and cozy. And I thought I was going to make this one up to be the same thing again. But then I feel like it's actually more similar in color to the one that I'm wearing than what I expected. And I feel like I'm just going to end up with two very similar toaster sweaters. So I don't necessarily want to make another toaster sweater with this one, but I'm not sure what I want to do with it. So I do have the right amount for a toaster sweater. It's 1.57 centimeters wide, and I have 1.6 meters of it. So it would definitely work for most sweatshirts. It's very nice and stretchy. Like I said, it's nice and cozy. I don't have any ribbing to match. I could get some ribbing. I think it would be tricky to get the same color because I bought this last winter, and it would be more just a bit of a guesswork, or I could do like a contrast ribbing if I was going to do a sweatshirt with ribbing, or I could do something completely different. But I would love to hear what you guys think if you have a sweatshirt pattern that you love or that you think would work really well, particularly with that really thick fleecy back, because I want it to be a really nice cozy thing to wear. But I've gone off the toaster sweater idea, so now it's just sitting there without a plan. If it doesn't have a plan, it's not going to become anything, and I want to change that. The last one that I want to share with you is a fabric that I also bought with a different project in mind, and I haven't necessarily decided not to make what I was planning, but I've just waited a little bit, and now I'm not 100% sure that that's the best use of it. And it is this really beautiful dark red enzyme washed linen fabric. So it's 100% linen. I would say it's definitely more of a medium weight. Just thinking the one a bit of time. Yeah, it's a medium weight. I love this color really so much. It is such a gorgeous deep red. I love linen. I love enzyme wash linen. Because it's a heavier weight, it could definitely be something that I could wear more for the colder months. I was thinking the intention when I bought this was to make another Peppermint Wrap top. So it's a Peppermint magazine free pattern called the Peppermint Wrap top. I've made it before in linen, absolutely love the one that I made before, and thought, right, I'm gonna make another linen one. Maybe this one I can wear for Christmas. And I was thinking again the same this year. It's not like I don't necessarily want to do that, but I've been thinking of making a dress for Christmas. And I wonder if I could use this to make a dress instead. I don't have a huge amount of it though. So it is 1.4 meters wide, and I have 2 meters of it. So I feel like it might be a bit of a push to be able to make a full dress from it. It's not impossible. I don't necessarily need it to be long sleeve. I'd be happy with like a elbow length or 3/4 length sleeve. I was potentially thinking about a dress hack of the Norma blouse, which is a fiber mood pattern that I haven't made yet, but I have got and I'm planning to make. The blouse only uses 1.1 meters of fabric, and so I feel like if I'm quite clever with how I lay my pieces out, I might be able to also get a little gathered skirt section as well. But if you have better ideas of what I can do with this fabric, considering it's just 2 meters, that potentially could make a nice dress for Christmas, let me know. I could make a top for Christmas, I could make a skirt for Christmas, but if I do that, then I'm gonna need to have something to pair them with, so it feels like I'm giving myself more work in a different way. Or maybe I should just make the peppermint wrap top and be done with it, because I know I'll love it and I know I'll wear it a lot. But it doesn't feel as like special and Christmassy to me, and it seems like such a lovely color to be able to wear for Christmas. I hope it was fun to see my little highlights of what I found in my stash, the things that I need help with what I can do with so that I can hopefully get them out of my stash and onto my body in some garments. Have you thought about organizing your own fabric stash? Do you have any tips, things that you do? I love to hear other people's tips for organization. I really enjoy having a peek into other people's fabric collections as well. If you enjoyed it, let me know in the comments down below. Was there anything that stood out to you from the way I'm organizing or from the fabrics that I've got in my collection? Again, give me a thumbs up if you did enjoy my video. I always really appreciate you guys giving me comments, giving me feedback. Hearing from all of you makes it so much more fun and so much more interesting and worthwhile for myself as well. I've got more videos coming out, usually about once a week, so do hit that subscribe button if you want to see more of my videos, and I hope to see you all again very soon. Bye!